Well, for most Republicans, King Charles won't have much time to prove himself. They've long predicted that with the death of Queen Elizabeth will come a recharge push towards a republic. One Australian MP who has a different view to that, I think, is Shadow Immigration and Citizenship Minister Dan Tehan. He joins us now from his office in Hamilton, in Victoria's southern Grampians. Dan, thank you very much for your time. Take us back to when a 17-year-old Prince Charles came to Geelong Grammar and ended up on the Tehan farm at Timbertop. How did that come about?
Well, he just arrived in Australia, and the headmaster of Geelong Grammar wanted him to experience something of the local environment. So my parents were asked to entertain him, and they took him water skiing on the Eildon Weir, and my father took him horse riding. And they had a wonderful, wonderful day with him. He had a cup of tea afterwards and was a very quiet, polite young man. My father said he was very good in the saddle, very good on a horse, and also was very good on the water skis.
On the water skis? How did that happen?
On the water skis, well, they wanted to just give him some time relaxing in the local community, and the farms on the shores of Lake Eildon, and water skiing was a favourite pastime in the summer. So it was the February of 1966. He was just about to start at Timbertop. So they said, well, what would he like to do? And he said he'd like to try water skiing and also horse riding. And there was shearing going on at the time, what we call crutching, Chris, where you take the wool off the around the sheep's head and the sheep's backside. And so Dad took him up to the shearing shed and showed him the crutching. And like all people who see that for the first time, he was a little bit worried for the sheep, but Dad explained to him that it was all right. It was actually to help them so they didn't get grass seeds in their eyes and get dags and fly strike on their tails. So
what a learning experience!
A wonderful. Yeah, wonderful time, and just a wonderful, polite young man, but also very comfortable doing these activities.
Now, the Queen, of course, visited your part of Victoria a couple of times. There was some local rivalry, I understand, about where she would visit.
That's right. In 1954, when she did that very long and extensive visit to Australia, she came to Hamilton, and it's quite remarkable. 70,000 people came to the town of Hamilton to see her. 7,000 school children waited 8 hours on the main oval to see her, and they came from far and near to see her. But there was a lot of rivalry, and Portland was very upset that she chose Hamilton and not Portland to visit. But the Queen, and that sense of duty and service, which only she had, one of the next trips when she came to Australia in 1970, she went to Portland to make up to the fact that she didn't visit in 1954.
Oh, she read the room.
They got to see the Queen eventually, which was, I think, just shows her in all her service, the fact that she had probably realised that there were other places that were very keen to see her. So she made sure on visits when she returned, she covered off to make sure the people of Portland were happy.
Now, the Republicans in this country have always expected Australia to surge towards being a republic after the Queen's death. From what you've seen just over the last 3 days, do you think it's still a fait accompli?
No, I don't, and I think the way that King Charles has started and the fact that he's been very clear that he wants to follow the example of his mother. Now, they're the biggest shoes that anyone will ever have to fill. The King stepping into his late mother's shoes, that's without question. But if he can follow her example, I think there is no reason why he couldn't be seen with the same amount of respect that she has been over time. But obviously that impartiality that she showed, that sense of duty and service, will have to be something that he will have to follow to be able to emulate what she has been able to achieve. Probably the greatest leader that any of us have seen in our lifetime.
So what does that mean for his advocacy for climate change, for instance? Can he continue that as king? Because you've got two things here. He's got to remain in the middle, play it straight down the line, and secondly, England is going through a baseload power shortage.
That's right. I think he has to show that impartiality that the Queen did, that his former mother did. When you hear and read and learn about the Republic debate here and the way that she understood that ultimately it would be a decision for the Australian people as to whether we would continue with the constitutional monarchy, she remained impartial right throughout that debate. And I think King Charles is going to have to follow that example. And when it comes to things like climate change, obviously in the UK, as you've suggested, the biggest focus at the moment is providing the energy security that the United Kingdom needs. So making sure that he's impartial and understanding the challenges that every government has to be able to meet to be able to ensure that they're looking after their people, I think is something, if he follows his late mother's example, he will be able to demonstrate the way she did it, and that way learned her that enormous amount of respect right around the world.
Interesting years ahead. Dan Tehan, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, Chris.